Good morning, Rabbi Isai. So here we are, Erev Shabbos. Say the seat. It's Erev Shabbos, just the 2 hours before Shabbos. There's a big oilam here, beautiful ishkoich for the oilam for coming out. I don't expect everybody to be here. I don't even know what we're doing. Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos immediately. Motzei Tisha B'Av immediately after the fast is over. A coffee, and we're going to share right away. I realize I have less time than I have. Taxi's waiting 9:30. Fast Ma'ariv is at 8:45. So, kids, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll figure it out. No, what time is Ma'ariv? Really? Because I read 8:45. Maybe it's a mistake. Okay. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Okay. Shmak. So again, Rabbi Isai, because it's Tisha B'Av after Shabbos, so typically we have a shir on Motzei Shabbos. We can't have a shir on Motzei Shabbos, it's already Tisha B'Av. The entire Tisha B'Av we don't have a shir. So the idea is to give the shir now, so people could learn now, but also chazer tomorrow. You're not potter from learning on Shabbos. We have to learn every day. Learn tomorrow. And maybe I'll give a little share here to Menachem Atel 101. Rabbi Isai, I'm going to be in South Africa next Motzei Shabbos. And therefore, I expect everybody to be there. Dear Rabbi, above is a speech. This is an unbelievable story. The man in the center, without the beard, the shaved man with the white shirt in the center, his name is Simcha Firestone. He made his first siyum at the age of 51 or so. It says like this. Most of it explains, I gave a speech tonight, most of it explains why I finished 3 Masechtas for the first time in my life, what I love about you and the shir, Rabbi Josh Brody, who's also part of his neighborhood over there and is part of the shir, from behind the bima, and Rabbi Mordechai Yachnes helped put together the MDY Boker Raton group, and we discussed this evening how to leverage the momentum and what the future of MDY Boker Raton looks like. In my speech, I explained what makes the shir the best and most exciting shir that exists. I'll only attach below. I'll also attach the message. Thank you for the message I received through the Austin brothers, your friend and student Simcha Firestone, Yishkoyach, and Mazel Tov, many, many more. I was also at a Yankee game, says this tzaddik, his name is Moshe, but without a last name. I was sporting its Kishmak to the Daf hoodie. And afterwards, an unaffiliated Jew approached me regarding the slogan, as he thought it's a yeshiva or something like that. I then went on to explain to him about Torah study, the greatness of studying Torah daily, how accessible to learn Torah nowadays. In short, I don't know what ended up happening after I tried to inspire. I just got this morning from Michael Austin, Jonathan Austin's brother from Florida. He said he's on a flight, and the guy next to him said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Doing the daf." He says, "I heard about it. What is it?" So Kitzer, he gave him the daf. He showed him the link. The guy listened to the entire daf and more, and he says he wants to join. He's unaffiliated. Yevaldik. Isaac Grunbaum. I started listening to your shir recently, and I'm really enjoying it. Basically saying what you're saying, Rabbi Schoenberg, so I got to repeat this. I want to make a comment on the value of 50 shekel, which is equal to 200 zuz. I said it's 200 zuz, and Mamela 200 zuz is like a ksuba, and it has a value of at least $1,500, I said, maybe $20,000 according to Rabbi Moshe. Comes to Rabbi Schoenberg after shir and says, no, you made a mistake. 200 zuz is one thing. And this guy also is saying the same exact thing. Commonly valued at 2.2 pounds of silver, $536. There's a second 200 zekukim requirement in the ksuba that has a greater scope. That's why I went wrong. It's not 200 zuz, it's 200 zekukim, and that's why it's more valuable. I think this guy knows what he's talking about because he's Concord Mediation Group. I guess they do mediations, ksubas, and stuff like that. I don't know. Anyway, the koilel is sponsored. Zchus all the new people that join. Second Parnas HaKoilov of the month, a $10,000 donation to the MDY Koil by Avi and Rachel Kamiansky in memory of Rachel's mother, Rita Gay Epstein, Rita Gay Epstein, on behalf of us and our children. The Masechta, first sponsor for the Masechta is Lili Nishmas Moshe Menora Shalom. Lili Nishmas is Baruch Moshe. And for the hatzlacha b'chol inyanim for my children. Second sponsor of the Masechta is Jeff Rosner. In zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Sara Klein. Refuah Shlaima. Amen. Shkoyach. And Panas HaChodesh by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is the best segula. He has a trademark under the Tainas. Panas HaChodesh, Shragi Chafetz RL149 is a zchus for my family, myself, for the Tzaddikim of RL Hatzalah. Panas HaChodesh number 3, Eli Stefansky Moshe. Panas HaChodesh number 4, Benjy and Estie Israel and family. In memory of Zayde Moshe Menora and three cousins, Sara Klein, Ricki Racheli Menora on the 12th yard side. The Shabbos should all have an aliyah. Wow. Crazy story. I'm telling you, in the 9 days, he took his family for a trip in his private plane, took off from, I forgot the name of that island over there, Guacan or whatever. Took off, Mackinac Island, from the pilot himself. Took off, crashed immediately after takeoff. One of his grandchildren survived. Paras HaChodesh number 5, Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my precious Southern Belle, wife, mother, and grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. Rabbi, here we go. It's Erev Shabbos. The Olam's in a rush. Some people are doing early Shabbos. You should get to all those on Zoom. How many people do we have in Zoom now? 76. Wow, 76 people on Zoom on Erev Shabbos. Beautiful. Shkoyach. Gufa. Top of Lamed Aleph, Amud Aleph. Incredible sugis, mamish, fascinating stuff. Every minute is geschmack over here. Omar of Chizda, Moeder ibn Chuyin ben Akana, begoin of Chelboy shel Chaveroi va'acholoi. What happens is a guy is over 2 Yisurim, so going back to the idea of Kam lei b'derabim minei. If a person is over a major Isser, at the same time, he's chayav a smaller thing. He's only chayav for the larger one, not for the smaller one. So, he stole chaylev, he stole treif. So stealing is one problem, chaylev is another problem, a bigger problem. V'acholoi, and he ate the chaylev, he's chayav. She's chayiv even for the gneva. Over here we have a situation, he's chayiv the avera, chayiv on the tashlumim. Why? We said, for instance, according to some other amrim, if he's ma'anis his own sister, he's potter from the knas. So why over here, if he eats chaylev, he's chayiv on the gneva? What's the difference? Shekvar is chayiv b'gneva kodim sheyavli the isur chaylev, because they happen at 2 different times. First, he picked up the object, he did hagbah, it became his, and then a minute later he put it in his mouth and he ate it. So they're not connected to 2 acts, and therefore he's chayiv on the gneva, chayiv on the chaylev. Says the Gemara, Lema pligio de Rebbe Oven. Perhaps this comes to argue on Rebbe Oven. The Omar Rebbe Oven. Okay, check this out, Rabbi. So here goes the new technology. Let's see if you're able to see it. Oh! The yarmulke wasn't so gishmak, wasn't sticking to his head. Okay. What you see in this chart is, for those who haven't been with us since Masechtas Shabbos, the very, very basic stuff of Shabbos, the 101, and again, Shas Katan. We're going through a lot of stuff fast, but Gishmak, Chazor on Shas. One way to be over, one of the Yisurim, one of the 39 Melachas in Shabbos is Hoitzah, to take out an object from a Rishus HaYachid, from a guy's private domain, as you see those houses in his front yard, into the public domain. We're not going to go into what a public domain is. 600,000 people, 16 amas, whatever public domain is. Okay? A large thoroughfare. That's one way of being over. You also need an akira and hanacha. You have to lift it up and put it down. You can't be over on Shabbos without an akira and hanacha. Another way to be over this avera is by walking 4 amas in Rishus Harabim. You can even see he's holding something in his hand, that guy, and he's walking. Okay. When we learned Masechtas Eruvin, I didn't have this. I just discovered this today. It's something like a GIF. I don't even know what it is. No, okay. I didn't know that I could actually put it on and draw on it and all that. Shmak. We're going to start using it a little bit more. Fine. Akira, what are you laughing? Yosef has it all the time. Whatever. It's new for me. We could have used it, I guess, we might use it a little bit more today. Fine. Now, says the Gemara like this. Okay, so you got all the ideas from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. Walking 4 amas in Rishus HaRabim. Those are the 2 ways. However, there has to be an akira and anacha. You have to lift it up and put it down. We're going to see that if you didn't have a mind to put it down when you picked it up, it's not even akira and anacha. Okay. Hazoyrek. Listen to this one. Leima pligi the Rebava and Omer Rebava and Hazoyrek chetz mitchilas arba. Oh, guess what? I have another one. This is going to be amazing. Check this out, Rabbi Sai. Woo! Okay. You might get sick of watching this, but there's a shirt. There's a piece of silk in the middle. He is shooting an arrow 4 amas. On Shabbos, if you shoot 4 amas, you did an akira and hanacha. He lifted it and there's a takeoff, and there's a touchdown, all on Shabbos. When is he over the Isser Shabbos? When is he Chayiv Misa? When there's a Hanacha. First he did the Akira, he shot the bow, the arrow, and then when it landed, he's Chayiv Misa. You see where it says Chayiv Misa? I'm sorry about the, you know what, let me stop it. I could stop it, hold on. There is a way, there was a way. Not anywhere. Who? There is a way. Okay, there's a way when it's in a different mode, not in this mode. Yeah, maybe, you know what, let me, okay, this is better. Okay. What happened was, while the arrow's flying through the air, it ripped somebody's clothing. So he did gneva. He's going to be chayiv misa what? Nezek. He's mazik. He's chayiv misa in 3 seconds from now. 3 seconds earlier, before the chayiv misa, he was mazik somebody. A special shirt, cost $50. Because they're going to kill him, they're going to give him skila tomorrow in Bezdin, so he doesn't have to pay for the shirt, l'chayra, right? Now, why is he potter for the shirt? Because of the idea of he's going to get the death penalty, so he doesn't have to pay for the shirt. But wait a minute, you just said that if it happens at 2 different times, the shirt was at 10 o'clock, the landing was 10:01. It took 30 seconds to go through. By the way, we have to say, we're learning now the zchus. There's a tremendous, what do you call a miftzah? How do you say miftzah in English? There's an operation going on right now. The Israelis just went into Gaza. They're bombing Gaza. So it's going to be a little bit of a balagan in there. So we have to daven that everybody should be healthy. Because they're going to retaliate now with missiles and everything. So the learning should be a zchus. We're learning now, right now as we speak. I was just thinking about it. The missile going through, sometimes it takes 30 seconds, whatever it is. But it happened at a different time, even if it's a split second. It didn't happen at the same time that it hit the shirt. Says the Gemara, so we just said that if it happens at a different time, you stole, and then you ate the chaylev, you're chayiv on the chaylev. You don't have kam lebi. Over here, you say you're potter on the shirt because of kam lebi d'Rabbanai. It's a little bit counterintuitive. You're potter when they happen together, you're chayiv when they're separate. Shakir tzarech hanochahi. Oh, so now the Gemara says the yisoid. The akira is part of the hanacha. You shoot the arrow because you want it to land somewhere. So it's one maisa, shooting, leaving my hand, leaving the arrow, and hitting the board or hitting wherever it is one action. And anything that happens in the middle of that action is part of the action of the akira and the hanacha. It's not akira hanacha. It's akira hanacha. It's one and the same. I'm doing the akira. I'm shooting the arrow so that it should land somewhere. So memela, when I hit the shirt and I do hezek in middle of the flight, it's all part of it, and therefore I'm potter for the shirt. I lifted up the chaylev and I stole the chaylev in order to put it in my mouth. It's like an arrow going from over here, from my plate, into my mouth. It's the same thing as an arrow traveling. Unbelievable. There's a question. Why is Tisha B'Av on Tisha B'Av? Tisha B'Av should be an Asara B'Av. When was the Beis Hamikdash destroyed? On the 10th of Av. Why do we celebrate the 9th of Av? And this year we're celebrating actually the 10th of Av. But it's a Nitcham. We say, it's really, but why? So they use this Gemara right here. Unbelievable. Because Eisha Mishum Chitzai, the fire started on Tisha B'Av. And it continued into Asar B'Av. So when did it actually happen? When the fire started. When you shoot the arrow, that's when it starts. That's the Churban the actual building fell on the 10th. But when did it start? On the 9th. Fine. Says the Gemara, no, beautiful. Tie into Tisha B'Av. Alo. Thank you. The boy says the Gemara. Great. Sorry, let me see from the beginning. This is a difference. Again, we have two cases. One is the arrow flying, and we're saying that the whole flight from beginning to end is one maisa. And then we have a guy grabbing a piece of chaylev off his friend's plate, stealing it, and we're saying that it's not one maisa. Why not? The only way the arrow could go from point A to point B is if you lift it up and you shoot it. Over here, you don't need to lift up the piece of chaylev and put it in your mouth. You could grab the chaylev off the floor, off the plate with your mouth. You don't need to lift it up. Because Rashi says less than 3 tefachim, this is a shita here, that less than 3 tefachim is not considered agba. So if you bend down and you eat the chaylev off the floor, off the plate, so you ate it, you're over on the issur without even lifting it up. So you don't need the lifting up to be part of that ma'isa. Inami, another pshat, hasam, by the arrow, once you shoot an arrow, you can't take it back. Over here, just because you lifted it up and you stole it doesn't mean that you're going to do the end of the action. Over here, you could stop what you're doing. You stole, it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily eat it. So, but when it comes, what's the matter, Gershon? What's the matter? Akol b'seder? Okay. But when it comes to an arrow, I want to say that it's one maisa. It's one action. Why? Because once I shoot the arrow, I can't take it back. So if I can't take it back, it shows that it's one maisa. What would be a good nafkemina between the two lashonas? Akir tzarech hanacha, either that akir tzarech hanacha, or that I could stop in the middle. What's the difference? The same action as an arrow, but here you're holding it in your hand. You're going in the Rishus Rabim, and you're cutting stuff as you're going. So you could stop. It's not an arrow. You can stop what you're doing, but you need akir tzarech hanacha. Over here, in order to do whatever he's doing, he has to pick it up. He has to keep on going. So it's one ma'isa. But according to the svara, that it has to do what's the determining factor? Whether you could stop your action in the middle. Over here, you could stop your action, so it's not connected. It stops the ma'isa. It's not one long ma'isa, because anytime in a ma'isa I could stop what I'm doing and take it back, then it's not one long ma'isa. I lifted it up, then I went to sleep. I went weiter and I cut. So one thing has nothing to do with the other. Gufa, Omar Rebav. Going back to this case. If you want to look at the picture one more time, Yosef, is there a way to make sure that it doesn't turn black every second?
I don't know the program, but I'm going to have to look up to try and fix that for you.
Uh-oh. Here, hold on. I'm in this now. Here.
Don't worry about it now. Don't worry about it.
Here. I stopped one of them. The hippopotamus is a different one. Okay. So, going back to this Maisa. As the arrow was flying, it tore a shirt, it was mazik, somebody else potter. Why? Because when the arrow leaves the bow, it's for landing. The takeoff and landing is one of the same, right? When you fly a plane, you need to take off in order to land. So the takeoff and the landing, it's one long flight. It's one action. But if you could stop in midair and pause, then we said it's not one action according to that one teretz. Okay, so let's remember, if somebody steals a purse, he steals a purse on Shabbos, he's chayev. So what does that mean? He's chayev on haitzah. Again, from going from, two things. Hagoyin of Kisbeh Shabbos. He's doing two things here. He stole something and it's Shabbos. Chayev. Shekfarnes chayev b'gneva koydem sheyol de yisur skila. So he's chayev. He stole the purse. It became his. So he's ganav. and then by the time he made it out the front door of whoever's house he stole, that front door turns into Rosh Hashanah, so he's chayiv on Eitzah and Rosh Hashanah. Now, if it was one long Maisa, he lifted it up in order to take it out, it's Akira Tzarech Hanacha, then he shouldn't be chayiv, right? Now, real quickly, let's say I want to be kind of this. So the best way to do it really is I lift it up. Hagbah. What if I go like this, I drag it, I pull it to myself, that's Mashicha. So the Gemara says, Hay Megar v'yoytza patur. Over here we're saying that Mashicha is not going to be kaina. Why? Because he didn't pull it into his domain. He's patur. So until he gets to Rosh Hashanah,
He didn't do the to steal it yet.
huh?
He didn't do the to steal it. That's the delay when he dragged it.
Yeah, but I want to be koine with Mashiach. Now we're saying that he's not koine. Yeah, it's not his rishos. Sharei Isser Shabbos Ugneva Boim Ke'echad. Once this object comes out of the guy's house, then he steals it. But then it's already too late. Then he's chayiv misa for taking it out of the guy's house, from one domain to another, from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, he's chayiv misa. Okay. V'amai hachanami leima hagba tzarech haitzahi. It's the same story that we said before. Now that when he lifted it up on the first part that we said, not on the dragging. I said to remember when it says chayev. Remember, hagoynev kis b'Shabbos chayev. If I lift it up, I'm in your house, I lift up a purse. I'm chayev on what? Everybody said on gneva. Why am I chayev on gneva? I lifted it up in order to take it out of the front door. So that's akira l'tzarech hanacha. So when I lifted it up, it was part of my haitzah of Shabbos. It was part of the misa that I'm getting. I can't get it out the front door without me lifting it up. So it's like a flight. It's like takeoff and landing. I picked it up and I landed outside. I'm chayiv misa. So I shouldn't be chayiv for gneva. I can't be chayiv misa and chayiv gneva on the same action. Says Gemara, Mamish, all these halachas one after another. Mamish bombard, we have to hold the cup here. If his intent was not to take it outside, he lifted it up in order to hide it in that guy's house. So he wanted to steal it, but he did not intend to be over Isudai Raisa of Eitzah. V'nimlach olav v'oitzioi, and then he decided all of a sudden to take it out, and Taiz explains it becomes a new akira. Okay, v'chiyai gavna asks the Gemara, michayav, why should it be chayav for hoitzah on Shabbos? V'omer Rav Simeon, Omer Reb Ami, Omer Reb Yochanan, hamafanach hafatzim mizavis lizavis. V'nimlach aleim v'oitzion potter. Interesting, when it comes to Shabbos, if I lift a couch in my house all day long, I take the couch from one room to another room, not chayav anything. So guy who lifted up the couch in order to move it around in his house, he's potter. If you take out a little needle from the front door into the Rosh Hashanah, you chayav misa. Lifting a whole couch and schlepping on Shabbos, you're not doing anything. Only when you do the Eitzah. But he lifted up the couch in order to move it to the dining room. Then he decided, no, he's going to take it out to the front, to the garbage. So he's potter. Why? Because when it comes to Shabbos is a new concept for now. I mean, those who learn Shabbos know about this. In Shabbos has to be meleches machshavas. You have to have in mind, you have to have kavanah to do that melacha. It has to be a calculated action. So when I lift up the couch, I have to have intent to take it out the front door. If my intent was to move it to another room, so when I lifted it up, it was nothing. Then 25 seconds later, I said, okay, I'm going to take it out the front door and be over an oitzah. You're not over oitzah. There's no akira. You need akira and anacha. And both of them have to have the right intent of Isser. I have to say I'm taking it outside. So if the intent was to put it, to hide it, like the Gemara says, Almanas Latznioi, you shouldn't be over Shabbos. Says the Gemara, you're right, 100% right. Step one is, we're going back to what we said before, no, he had the right intent to be over Issa Deraisa. Okay, so then what's going on here? The guy stopped in his footsteps. He was walking and then he stopped. So when you stop, what happens? That becomes a hanacha. When you stop, it's a hanacha. Then you start up again. Now you made another akira. So when he stopped the first time, what happened? He became a ganav. He didn't get to the front door yet. He lifted up the guy's purse. It's a purse full of cash, a man's purse, full of cash, or he stole the woman's purse, whatever. He picked up the purse, and he's walking through. All of a sudden, he hears noise, so he stops. Oh, that stop is a hanacha. He was kind of the purse. Then he went right there out the front door, and he's over on Isser Shabbos. So that's why it's two meisim, and that's why you only chayiv. You're chayiv on the gneva and chayiv on Shabbos. The Shabbos is not going to pater you because it happened at two different times, two separate actions. Says Gemara, okay, but wait a minute. Why did he stop? If it's to readjust the package on his shoulder. You see this guy right here. This guy is carrying something pretty heavy. He needs to stop. Why do you need to stop? If it's to readjust, that's normal. Everybody that has a backpack, they're always, I think I have another picture here. This is a typical, when we're learning about, in Erevin, this is Lekatif. This is Mamish Lekatif. He stops, puts his backpack on a stone and readjusts it. Okay, Lekatif. That's normal. So it's not, if it's normal, then what? What's the firois? Then it's not a hanocha. It's not considered stopping. It's considered part of when you're driving, you're driving from here to there, and you stop at a stop sign. Is that stopping? No, it's part of the drive. You didn't take a rest. You're not resting. It's part of driving. Okay. But if he stopped to take a break, that's different. Says the Gemara, okay, if that's the case, you made a distinction between lekativ and lafush, between to readjust and to take a nap. What are the two cases? Case number one is I lifted it up. So I'm chayiv. Case number two, sorry, chayiv or potter? Potter, because it's one ma'isa. Case number two is megar v'yoytza, dragging. Ask the Gemara, why are you jumping to another type of case? To megar v'yoytza, this is a classic Gemara question, right? In that first case of lifting up, I have two cases. I don't have to go to another case of dragging. Within lifting up, there's two cases. Yechayev, when you stood still to rest, because that's not normal. So it's two actions. But if you did it in the normal way, then you're potter. We just turned to Amud Aleph Beis, Zach, the Rocklin, and Lenny learned a CPA. And Yago going to the Vision MDA, MSP. And Mayodi Newman in honor of myself. Elohimani ben Azahi. Okay, we're saying it's ben Azai. What? You're always chayiv, even if you didn't stop. The Omar, Mahalech koi medomi. Unbelievable. Check this out. Look at this guy. If you notice his foot, when you're walking, your foot is stationary on the floor. It's not moving. One foot is not moving. Yeah? When you walk, you put your left foot down, so you're stationary. You pick your right foot up and then you put your right foot down. You're not running. At any given time, you're in one place. So he claims, Ben Azai says, if you were to take 100 steps, you did 100 akiras and anachas. Every time you put your foot down, that's a hanacha. So therefore what? So he has a toupee. So the chiyuv misa only happens at the end. Because every time he's doing akir anacha, so when is he chayiv misa for Shabbos? When he gets to Rishus Harabim. But the Geneva happened at the first step that he took. Yeah, he's in the guy's house. He picks up a purse. He picks up whatever it is. He takes one step. Oh, you're a ganav. Because now he's kinda, he brought in his rishos. He was kinda, but he's not chayiv on Shabbos because he's still in the guy's house. He's in a private domain. So he has to take 25 steps, 25 akiras and anachas, which Geneva happened 20 steps ago. And finally, when he gets to the front door and he steps from Rishus HaYachid into Rishus HaRabim, then he's chayiv misa. Ask Tosfos, Jonathan is asking Tosfos Kasha. If so, how's a person over in Rishus HaRabim 4 amas? How's it possible? Every time you put your foot down, it's another akira, another anacha. Then you pick your foot up, it's another akira. So there's no such thing as 4 amas in Rishus HaRabim. Says Tosfos Tuti Rutzim. Teres number 1, that's the Gzeres HaKosav. We don't understand it, but that's how it is. If you walk in Rishus HaRabim 4 amas, you're chayiv. Teres number 2, which I never understood so well. Actually, somebody explained it to me a little bit, but I don't think that's the Pashas and Tosfos. But teres number 2 is that it's this. The only way to be over in Rishus HaRabim Daled Amas is if the person jumps the full Daled Amas. So yeah, you have to carry something. So I told my chavrusa it's impossible. Most people, besides me, of course, can't jump 8 feet. So in the middle of the koilel, he takes a. Also, what are you doing? But it was only about 6 feet. There's 6-7 feet. It's not a regular thing. Now this is a man, by the way, because it's 100% a man. That's why I put it here.
Funny guy.
Okay.
With no scissors.
I couldn't get the scissors on. They're moving too fast, the bus and everything. Fine. So you could shut it off already. Fine. Muktzah? No, Muktzah is only the Rabbanon. We're talking about... No, Muktzah is only the Rabbanon. You're not chayiv misa on Muktzah. We're talking about a chiyuv misa. Chiyuv misa is when you do a itzah. You go take it from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. The Rebbe Kiva Eger asked Rebbe Label Eger, he's famous that he left Litvischkeit and became a chassid. Is such a word. So he asked him, he said, I don't understand something. Why can't we shake a lulav on Sukkos? Why don't we blow a shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Shema Yavirenu Daled Amas Rishus HaRabim. Maybe. So asked Rebbe Kiva Eger what? The whole chashash you might come to carry 4 amas of Rishus HaRabim. And the only way that you're over is if you jump. So how many people are jumping 8 feet at a time? With the lulav and esrog. Says Reb Leivel, if you were chassid, you would understand. The simcha of the mitzvah made you jump. Okay, fine. I don't know, but it doesn't happen before the daf is over. That I can tell you. Zog the Gemara. Oh yeah? We're almost done. 5 minutes. Says the Gemara, but if you throw the object, what happens? The Geneva and Shabbos happen at the same exact moment. There's Akira and Anacha. One Akira, one Anacha for both. The Geneva and the Shabbos. So therefore what? Come lebe the Rabbi Minei, and therefore you're potter for the Geneva. So then again, same question that we had before. Now I have an afkamina within one case. Why do I have to talk about dragging? If he's walking, he's potter from Geneva. Avazorik, then he'd be chayiv in Geneva. Avazorik potter. Says Gemara, no, I need the case of dragging. I don't want to talk about throwing. Why? I would think, who in the world drags a purse? You put the purse on your shoulder, you carry it. Nobody drags a purse. And, right, when it comes to Hilchas Shabbos, everybody knows that if you turn on a light with your elbow, it's a shinoi, and you're not chayiv deraisa, it's midarabon, you are chayiv. Don't go ahead and doing it. But if you do things differently, you're not Chaim Deraisa. So if you're going to drag a purse, and the normal way of doing it is to hold it, not to drag it, then you're not Chaim Deraisa. As the Gemara b'mai, what kind of purse are we talking about? If it's a giant purse, it's normal to drag it. Check this out. I have a giant purse. Okay? The way to move this purse around is by dragging it. You can't really lift it. And if it's really small, I have a picture of that also. If it's really small, it's not the derech where you're going to put that little purse on the ground and drag it. Elo b'mitzay. It's a medium. Here we go. I got a picture of that also. Here. He's dragging a purse. Where exactly, in other words, so we're teaching us, we're coming to teach us that it's normal. It's normal for people to drag medium-sized purses. By the way, I just realized, this exact story, like this kid, I saw many times in the airport with Nekevas. There's something about them that they prefer to drag a 400-pound bag through a giant airport than to be caught dead with a bag that has wheels, because the wheels is weird. It's a chosh of a expensive purse without wheels. That's choshev, but you drag. They get wheels. No, not me. No, I don't do wheels. I do. Okay, fine. If you never, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Have you seen it? No, it's not the money. It's not the money. It's a status. Prestige. A purse doesn't have wheels. Imagine a purse with wheels. It has to be chosh of a bag. You put a ton of stuff in there. It's managed to weigh. Okay, fine. Now you'll notice it. Go to the airport, you'll notice.
Take a picture. We don't trap.
No, we don't show pictures of those kind of people. Zcharim don't do it. I'm not. Where exactly is this guy moving this stuff? If he's taking it out to Rishus Rabim, Isur Shabbos Ika, Isur Gneva Leka. When you drag something, you're not koinet. You have to pull it into your Rishus. So you're chayiv from bringing it from one Rishus into Rishus Rabim, but you're not koinet yet. And if you're going from a private Rishus to another private Rishus, from one Rishus to another Rishus Yachid, is a Gneva Ika, is a Shabbos Leka. You only chayiv if you go from Yachid to Rabim. From a private domain to another private domain, you're not chayiv. You take it from your friend's house to your house. You're not over on Shabbos, but you are over on Gneva. So this is what we had over here. Where's that picture? Here's Tzidei Rishus Rabim. A person puts like bricks, walls, so that the people in the public Rishus Rabim don't go into his front yard. The green is his yard. He doesn't want people in there. So now you have in between the beams. What is that? You see, it has asphalt, but nobody really goes there. So is it part of the Rishus Rabim? It's not part. It's called Tzidei Rishus Rabim. It's the sides of Rishus Rabim. Okay, man. And according to if it has the same halachas as Rishus Rabim, is a Shabbos is a Gneva Leka. Again, so we have the same. What did you gain exactly? If a halachically is considered Rishus Rabim, so I can't drag your chayfetz into Rishus Rabim and be over. I'll be over on Shabbos, but not on Gneva. Is a Shabbos is a Gneva Leka. Ikra Banon Yuda, how you doing here with Hilchos Shabbos? It's good. It's going good. If you want to consider between the beams, that the area with the red arrows, you want to consider it as a Rishus Yachid, so you weren't over on Gneva. You just went from the grass to somebody else's Rishus Yachid. You're not over. You were over, yeah. You're over on Gneva, not over on Shabbos. Thank you. We're talking about that Tzidei Rishus Rabim is Rishus Rabim. When did he say that? Allah Shabbos. To be over in Shabbos. Since at the end of the day, if there's many people, let's say there's a levaya or whatever, they're going to end up between those beams. But also, it works on both things. It's somewhat of Rishus Rabim, somewhat of Rishus Hayachid. Not Yachid, but more, Rashi calls it a Simcha. I don't know, in Hebrew they call it a simta. I don't know if it's the same thing. But it's a place where it's more of a private area in the middle of Rishus Rabim. And Memela, you're kind of there as well. And when you're making the kani, my time at all, at the end of the day, Mashiach works there. If I drag it into that area, since you don't have a lot of people there, it's kind of private, so Mashiach does work. Rav Ashi Omar, no, forget this whole that he dragged it into this punct. We're talking about a case where he dragged it into between these beams. No, that's not what happened. Another interesting story. What happened was, let's say, I don't know if this is a good idea over here. He put his hand, this is Rosh Hashanah, this table. I don't know if you could see me, Gary. This is Rosh Hashanah. So he put his hand next to Rosh Hashanah. Again, so within 3 tfachim of Rosh Hashanah, there's no hagbah. So he put his hand over here, and it dropped into his hand. Okay, now this hand is considered 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim. Because when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, the only time you're over is if you do a hanacha. Where does hanacha have to be? In a domain, in a real domain. A domain is only if it's 4 by 4 tfachim. So, I wouldn't be over on Shabbos if this computer went into my hand. My hand is tiny. It's only 2 tfachim, not 4. So therefore, we have to come on to Rava, who Rava says that your hand has halacha of 4 by 4. So what are we saying here, Rabbi Isai? We're saying that over here we have a case that Shabbos and Gneva happened at the same exact second. When I dropped the computer into my hand, so first of all, I'm over on Gneva because I stole it. Second of all, I was over on Shabbos at the same exact time. So therefore, I am potter from Gneva because of Kim Levi the Rabbinay. Ravacha Masna Achi, Ravina Masna Loilam, the Apke, Lushus Rabbim, Ubishus Rabbim Nami Kana. Says Ravacha, your whole assumption is wrong. I hold that there is Mashiach, the kinyan of Mashiach, to drag something. You are Kana, even in Rishus Harabim. And how do I know that? Because I have a diuk from a Mishnah, he says. And we're just going to do this. How exactly did they learn it? Not a big deal. Again, one man Omar holds that there is no, I cannot be kind of anything by dragging something. In order to be kind of something, I have to lift it up. Remember, how you kind an elephant? Going to the safari, how you kind an elephant? Anybody? How do you lift up an elephant? Huh? Up a ramp. You gotta. It has to go up something. I could. No, Mashiach is not working here. Or he says no, Mashiach does work. So what's the raya? They both bring a raya from the same exact Mishnah. They both saw in the same Mishnah the opposite of each other. This nan, it says, if a person steals an animal, he was fighting with the animal. Yeah, sometimes animals get scared, and he is struggling with the animal. He chokes him until the animal dies. So, if it happened in the domain of the original owner, he's potter. But if he did hagba, so you see how it says they're together. The Gemara wants to, one wants the darshan that they're one and the same. You can learn one from the other. But also you can be medayik if you lift it up or you take it out of the rishus umeis chayiv. Says the Gemara. So the diukim are very simple. Ravina daik mereisha, Ravacha daik meseifa. One uses the beginning, one uses the end to make his diuk. Ravina daik mereisha. If I do Mashiach, I'm potter. Time in the Meis B'Shus Bailam. Why is he potter? Because he died in the owner's Rishos. So you see that if I did Mashiach and I got it out of his domain, I'm chayiv. So what do you see? Mashiach works to be kind of. Into what? Into another Rishos. Into Rishos. Okay. Into Rishos Rab. Ravacha daig meseifa. Higbiyoi oisho yitziyoi. Taking it out of Rishus is similar to Agba. Magba does say, just like when you lift something up, you bring it into your own domain. So too, but each one has a beautiful diuk. So what does the other one do with each one's diuk? Says Gemara, Rachel Vachaloi Kashya, Kamadali also Shusay, which is Balam Karina Bay. Don't take it literally. When I say the owner's Rishus, I don't mean literally what he owns and what he bought and he has a star that it says it's his. What I mean to say, as long as it doesn't leave that guy's Rishus, it doesn't go into your Rishus, then it's considered his domain. This diuk, to say that just because they're together, the words are together, to make such a diuk, we don't make such a diuk. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Have a meaningful fast. Yishkar for coming. Have a great day.